Hi there, fellow bookworm. Over the past couple of weeks, people have been getting emails from Amazon telling them that their Kindle will no longer work on the Kindle bookstore. Now, when this news first came out, I saw a lot of articles and everything being posted about how big of a deal this was, but honestly, I disagree with that. I don't think this is a very big deal. I actually think Amazon is really approaching this in a really good way, and they're trying to make it right by their customers. Now, to fully understand what's actually happening here, I want to talk about three different topics. The first is what exactly was announced by Amazon that is stirring up so many headlines. Second, I want to talk about what they're doing to help their customers. Then lastly, I want to give you my personal thoughts on using old Kindles. Now first, let's talk about what actually was announced by Amazon. And the funny thing is, they didn't announce anything. What they're doing is they're emailing customers with Kindles that are registered to be 10 years or older. So nothing was announced. All this is taking place over email. What they're telling these customers with these old Kindles that are over 10 years old is they can no longer access the Kindle bookstore on the actual Kindle. Now, obviously, this is a very major inconvenience. You want to be able to buy books directly on your Kindle. That is something you kind of expect when you buy a Kindle. But this is also where I disagree with all the hype around this news right now. This actually is not a big deal. Most people, like myself, don't actually buy books on the Kindle directly. I buy all my books on the Kindle website on my computer and then wirelessly deliver them to my Kindle over Wi-Fi. That feature will still work on all the old Kindles that support Wi-Fi and syncing and all of that. You can also plug in your Kindle to your computer and transfer books that way if you want. All of that will still work. The only thing that's not working anymore is being able to access the Kindle store directly on the Kindle. Another very important thing to emphasize over here is only impacts customers with Kindles that are 10 years or older. This is a very small minority of people. Most people don't have Kindles that are this old anymore. And also, if you have a Kindle that's over 10 years old, chances are using the bookstore on that Kindle is a very slow and clunky experience. You probably want to be using your phone or your computer anyway to browse the store. So that's what was technically announced by Amazon. Let me also talk about what they're doing to help their customers. Yes, technically speaking, Amazon could have just released a firmware update to maintain support for these older devices to be able to connect to the Kindle store in a secure way. They're choosing not to do that, and instead they're choosing to end support for these old devices. Now, when you hear it like that, it does sound a bit messed up that Amazon is choosing not to maintain support for these old devices. But when you compare that to other major tech companies, most companies don't support products that are over 5 years old. The fact that Amazon is still having customers use devices that are 10 plus years old and still generating headlines in the industry news is a really telling sign how reliable these devices are. These things last for so long. It really is unrealistic to expect a company to maintain support for devices that are really old. It's just the Kindles last so long, they've been doing it anyways. And again, this announcement that they had is only impacting the bookstore on the device. You can still use your Kindle just fine, even if it's 10 years old, by using the other workarounds we talked about before. But one thing I really appreciate by Amazon is they're actually making things right with these impacted customers. They're actually offering them an incentive to either buy a new Kindle and also just have some free ebook credit. If you got this email from Amazon, they're offering you a 30% discount on a new Kindle and also $40 of ebook credit, which is really amazing. I don't really hear many companies offering incentives like this anymore for customers that have devices that aren't being supportive. So honestly, Amazon is doing a really good thing right now. They're going above and beyond what most other people would do in this situation. This whole story actually reminds me of what happened with the Kindle Generation 1 over here. This device actually does not have any Wi-Fi on it. And when the 3G networks got shut down across the spectrum, they actually offered these customers a free Kindle Oasis. What other company is doing this where they're offering their loyal customers a free upgrade or a discounted, heavily discounted upgrade to a new device? Now, yes, even with the discount, they're still incentivizing people to spend more money on a new device they don't really want to have, but still, it's a really nice gesture, and I really do appreciate that it's an offer they have in the first place. Now, here's what I think of all of this. I have a very unique perspective of getting YouTube comments from Kindle users of all different backgrounds, and I often get people commenting using Kindles that are very old. It always surprises me how long these things will last for. When you compare them to a smartphone, those smartphones usually have to be upgraded every few years, But with the Kindle, you can buy one and comfortably know it's going to last you for multiple years ahead. Personally speaking, if you do have a Kindle that is a bit old right now, I would recommend upgrading because these old Kindles don't have a 300 ppi resolution for that crispy text on the screen and also that warm light temperature control. Those two things I think are very, very important for a device that is designed for reading books. Putting that aside though, if you already have that resolution and that warm light, you really have no reason to upgrade your Kindle. Those two features, in my opinion, are very timeless. It's very hard for Amazon to incentivize people to upgrade their Kindle because reading is such a timeless activity. You really have to find some really amazing feature to make it worth upgrading for. And in my opinion, the resolution and warm light were those two major features. I'm very curious, if you use an older Kindle, leave a comment down below letting me know. Even if you have a newer Kindle, just leave a comment down below letting me know how long you've been using a Kindle for. Also, if you enjoyed this video, there's a good chance you might also enjoy my other video from the other week where I talked about the EPUB update that Amazon also recently released. Link for that on the screen right now. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.